Greetings everyone! Today we are once again providing an overview of the abnormal events that took place in Milan and its suburbs. Due to unfavorable weather conditions, accompanied by strong storms and wind gusts, at least 3 people were injured. Firefighting services were on standby and received over 100 calls from concerned citizens who witnessed the destructive power of the wind gusts. Numerous mighty trees were either uprooted or felled, often blocking traffic in and around Milan. Falling trees also caused damage to sections of electrical grids, which in turn led to the suspension of train service on one of Milan's key metro lines. A powerful tornado struck Germany, accompanied by hurricane-force winds that blew down trees and overturned cars. According to preliminary reports, 3 people were injured. Police in the city that took the biggest hit from the elements reported the incident. Weather Time reported that 1 person suffered very serious injuries. Winds felled trees and ripped roofs off homes. Bus service between some communities was temporarily suspended, with eyewitnesses saying a truck weighing several tons overturned like a toy car. Rescue and utility services have already begun to eliminate the consequences of the disaster. A massive wildfire is raging in western Colombia, having started almost 24 hours ago. Despite the quick response of local authorities, the fire has quickly spread to vast areas and is already approaching homes in the city of Cali with a population of about 3 million people. The incident was so large that firefighters from other regions and civil defense forces were mobilized to extinguish it. Strong gusty winds made it difficult to fight the fire. It should be noted that one of the frequent causes of fires in Colombia is the activity of illegal loggers, who set fire to felled areas to hide their tracks. A hurricane downpour caused flooding in the streets of Bangkok, and heavy rains did not stop throughout the night due to the impact of the cyclone. More than 30 streets in the Thai capital were flooded. In some areas, the water level rose by 40 to 50 centimeters, which led to the formation of major traffic jams. Only in the administrative district of Phranékon overnight fell 210 millimeters of precipitation. Local authorities are urging drivers to avoid traveling around the city. In the Indonesian province of South Kalimantan, tens of thousands of residents were forced to leave their homes in a hurry due to prolonged downpours that lasted for 10 consecutive days. Thousands of homes were flooded after the heavy rains, and authorities reported more than a dozen deaths in both South Kalimantan and North Sulawesi due to flooding. The town of Banjarmasin was severely affected and an evacuation center was set up at the local train station. In addition, the floods caused devastating landslides. The Indonesian president arrived in Banjarmasin to assess the situation. For the province of South Kalimantan, it was the worst flooding in many years. The rains continued for nearly 10 consecutive days and the Bari River overflowed, flooding dozens of neighborhoods and towns, according to the president. The tall volcano near the Philippine capital spewed volcanic gases into the atmosphere. The gas release near Manila was so powerful that the concentration of sulfur dioxide in the air increased significantly and volcanic smog was formed. As a result, classes were canceled in many schools in the national capital region and neighboring provinces. Residents are advised to stay indoors if necessary and aircraft are advised to avoid flying near the volcano. Following the heavy rain, much of Ghana's capital, Accra, has been flooded and 1 person has died. Local media reports that several buildings and makeshift structures along the city's main roads have been destroyed due to flooding. In some areas, the water level rose up to 1.5 meters due to the outdated drainage system. Many parts of Accra are prone to flooding every time it rains. Last year, the World Bank provided funding of US dollars to combat the effects of flooding in Accra. However, experts say a lot of work is still needed to finally solve the flooding problem. Because of the devastating flooding in Libya, the bodies of 80 dead people were recovered from a site on the sea coast. This was reported in the Telegram channel of the Ministry of Emergency Situations of Russia. In the message of the agency says that employees of the Russian Emergencies Ministry in cooperation with Turkish colleagues conducted a complex operation to evacuate the bodies of the victims. In total, more than 110 bodies have been removed since the beginning of the operation. In addition, employees of the Russian Emercom began to conduct search and rescue operations in flood-hit Libya, and it was also reported that they are involved in work in a Libyan port. Today it became known about a terrible accident in the United States, which occurred on a school bus and led to the death of 2 people and injuries to more than a dozen others. The incident occurred while the schoolchildren were being transported to an annual music camp where they were to participate in a festival. The school bus heading to the camp veered off the road and fell into a deep ravine, leading to tragic consequences. 2 adults were killed in this terrible accident, including the band director who was accompanying the group of school children. This was a blow to the entire community, and the accident was deeply regretted and mourned. Immediately after the accident, emergency services and medical personnel arrived at the scene. Many of the injured children were taken to nearby medical facilities in serious condition. Several of them needed urgent medical care and surgery. According to preliminary reports, the cause of the accident was a front tire on the bus that burst, causing the bus to lose control of the vehicle. Law enforcement authorities have launched an investigation to find out all the circumstances and causes of the incident. Residents of the town of Avir in Kuban experienced a night of tense moments and anxious excitement as a natural fire soon broke out near the town's border. The incident caused serious alarm and mobilization of local rescue ministers and volunteers. According to information, the fire started with the burning of dry grass and spread rapidly under the influence of strong winds that carried the flames towards residential houses. This dire threat forced many residents to remain awake throughout the night, cooperating with local rescuers and volunteers to help fight the fire. Through the efforts of firefighters and volunteers, the flames were stopped from advancing, preventing them from approaching residences and populated areas. This concerted effort and the determination of those assembled contributed to the protection of property and the safety of city residents. An investigation is underway to determine the causes that served to initiate the fire. However, it is possible that it could have been a deliberate arson, especially given the dry vegetation and climatic conditions of the region.